I'm about to say something that might feel like a gut punch. The traditional job search is dead. Resumes and job applications no longer work, and the system that you were taught to sharpen your resume, fill out applications, talk to a recruiter, and just cross your fingers and hope, well, that game is over. And if you're still playing it, you're already losing. I say that as someone who used to play that game. I was constantly applying blindly to job applications, stacking up credentials, and trying to boost my resume. I realized I was playing a losing game and stopped playing it entirely. Since I stopped, I've landed multiple offers and have helped dozens of ambitious young professionals land jobs paying over $150,000 using an entirely different system. I'm going to break down what that system is in this video, step by step, so you can apply it yourself. The recruiting game has changed, and you'll either adapt or lose. Here's the thing. What's the number one career advisor in the world right now? It's AI. AI can rewrite your resume better, faster, and for free. And not to mention the hundreds of YouTube, LinkedIn, TikToks, and other career-related content that exists. There's more job search advice available right now than at any point in human history. And despite this, more people are unemployed or underemployed out of college or earlier in their careers than ever before. Why? Because for a long time, the job search worked because access was the bottleneck. If you were in college and had credentials, knew the right tactics for resume writing or networking, you had an edge. You could package that knowledge and information, and it gave you a real advantage. But now, almost everybody has the same credentials, everybody's college educated, everybody has the same certificates, and more importantly, everybody has access to the same information. All the resumes look exactly the same, and so the game hasn't necessarily gotten harder, it's just changed entirely. But most people are still playing by the old rules. Here's the part that most people miss, and this is what changed everything for me. I'm gonna get into exactly what shifted and how to execute on it in a second. But first, if you're serious about leveling up and landing a $100,000 plus job, stick through all 6 parts of the video. I'm going to give you the full system, not just the theory. So here's the big shift that nobody's talking about. There are now thousands of ways to apply for jobs through job portals directly on the websites, LinkedIn, Handshake, Indeed, you name it. AI and internet are great places to find job postings and information about companies, but humans create opportunities. That's the big difference, and that's where the advantage is right now. The people who are going to win moving forward, they're not just sending polished resumes into portals, they're building something that cannot be replaced. Real relationships with real people who actually make hiring decisions. So let me break this down. But before we get into the new system versus the old system, I want to mention something really important. There are certain things that can't be replaced no matter how good AI gets or no matter how many job boards exist. And this is why I'm saying the shift that we're living through is actually making the right approach and new system much more valuable. 3 things can't be replaced. First, it's your unique perspective and lived experience. Things you've actually done and learned through doing them. Not what you've read about, but what you've actually lived through. Second is the genuine human connection. A hiring manager trusting you because they've talked to you, seen your thinking, watched you engage with their work, rather than just a resume screen through an automated system. Third is proof of work. If you can actually demonstrate you doing the job, not claiming that you can do it in a cover letter, that's so much more valuable. Fourth is a real thesis. This comes down to knowing what you want and why, and being able to articulate it so clearly that when you talk to someone, they can feel the intentionality. Those things can't be automated or taken away from you. And those things can't even be mass produced. It can't be copied to your friend. And the system that I'm about to share with you is built on exactly those 4 key principles. So there are really 4 approaches most people talk about when it comes to job searching. Some of these still work to a degree, but each one has a fatal flaw. But if you find a way to combine the best parts of all of them, which is what I'm about to show you in a minute, that's where the real magic happens. Let me lay these out for you. It starts with mass applications. This is probably what you're currently doing and most familiar with. This just means applying to everything. LinkedIn, Handshake, Indeed, spray and pray. Here you're trying to cast the widest net possible and just hope that something sticks. And look, sometimes this can work. Sometimes you just might get lucky. But here's the trap that you fall into. You're competing against hundreds and sometimes even thousands of people for the same role. Your resume goes into an automated system and the human might never even see your name. 80% of jobs are filled through relationships, which means every application you submit, you're fighting over the remaining 20%. So the second approach to finding a job is through networking. This is the way that most people do it. Networking can work really well, but the way it's traditionally taught is painful. They might go to career fairs, collect business cards, send generic follow-ups, or blast LinkedIn messages that say, "Hi, I'd love to pick your brain." And the people that you're talking to feel this desperation. This isn't scalable or efficient because you're spending all of this energy with no real strategy behind who you're talking to and why. The third approach is their credential stacking approach. This is when people will just get another certification or try to get another internship, work on a project, polish the resume one more time, add another bullet point. This is the trap that most people fell into, including myself. I personally had a 4.0 GPA, investment banking, private equity. I kept stacking credentials, thinking the next one would be the thing that opened the door for what I actually wanted to do. But here's the problem with credentials. They're just table stakes today. Everybody has them, and another line on your resume doesn't differentiate you when everybody else is doing the same thing. The fourth approach is through either on-campus recruiting or some job fair if you're out of college. This can be effective for a narrow set of roles, the roles that are structured and have well-defined pipelines. But if you want anything outside of that, tech, startups, investing, strategy, data science, there's no pipeline waiting for you. And even for the roles and functions that have pipelines, the acceptance rates are really low. You're depending entirely on a system that you don't control. But here's the thing, each of these approaches has a piece of the puzzle. Applications can give you reach, networking can give you relationships, credentials gives you the knowledge, and recruiting pipelines like job fairs or structured programs give you some sort of stability. But each one alone has a fatal flaw and doesn't really get you anywhere. Now, what if I told you you can combine the best parts into a cohesive system? One that gives you clarity, relationships, proof of work, and structure. That's exactly what I've built. All of this is from my own experience. And it's not just theory. It's what I've done to land my current role and what I've shared with dozens of others. I tried every other way first. This is a system that actually worked and produced results. So it comes down to 4 steps. Let me walk you through them. And step 1 is where most people screw up because they skip it entirely. All right, so now we're gonna go through the 4 steps. At the end of it, I'm gonna add something that will tie everything together. So let me start with the foundation. It starts with your career hypothesis. You have to be able to extract from your interests, your talents, and your unique experiences, an actual thesis about what you want. This is where most people screw up or go wrong. And this is how you end up in the mass application spiral of applying to everything and getting nowhere. This trap is actually a massive benefit when you flip it. You have to be very specific about the outcome that you're looking for, because you can't pursue everything. And if your thesis is just, I want a good job, you're gonna get pulled into 1,000 directions. If you're applying to everything from consulting to data science to strategy to front office roles to back office roles, you're going to be mediocre in all of them and you can't truly stand out in the process because you haven't committed to anything. Instead, you need to get specific. As an example, my thesis was, I want to work at a research-driven investment firm with a flexible mandate. That's it, one simple sentence. But that one sentence gave me a filter for every decision that followed. Here's how you can build yours. You're looking at the intersection of 3 things. What are you genuinely interested in? This isn't what sounds prestigious. It's what do you actually find yourself reading about and thinking about when nobody's watching? What are you naturally good at? What comes easy to you that's hard for other people? And what's unique to you? What combination of experiences and perspective do you have that nobody else has? The intersection of these 3 things can formulate your hypothesis. And start by writing it down as one sentence. Yours might be, I want to work in climate tech strategy at a company that's building a product. Or it could be, I want to be at a fast-growing startup where I can learn operations from the ground up. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be specific enough to give you some sort of direction. And this is why this matters. Without a hypothesis, you're just noise. You're another resume in a pile of thousands. But with a hypothesis, every conversation you have, every email that you send, and every project that you build has a consistent through line. People can feel this intentionality, and intentionality is magnetic. So this is the starting point. Now, once you have your hypothesis, you need to figure out where this actually exists in the real world. Step 2 is what makes this hypothesis useful. From here, you take your hypothesis and reverse engineer it. What companies fit? What roles exist? What do people in these roles do day to day? Not the description, but the reality. You're building a target list, and this is not 500 companies from a job board. It's maybe 10 to 15 that actually align and fit within your thesis. For each one, you want to know, what does this company actually do? What's the culture like? What roles would someone with my hypothesis be doing there? And this is the key. Who works there that I could learn from? Most people skip this and go straight to applying. You don't want to do this because the research is what makes step 3 actually work. Because when you reach out to someone and you clearly understand their company and their role, the conversation is completely different from a generic, can I prick your brain type of conversation. You show up prepared and people respect that. So steps 1 and 2 are thinking. Steps 3 and 4 are the doing. And step 3 is where everything changed for me. Because this is where I went from, I'm interested in a research-driven investment role, to be known by the people who actually hire for these roles. Let me show you how. This is the most important step. And it's the one everyone either skips or does really badly. You need to talk to real people now. People who are doing the work you think you would want to do. This is not to ask for a job. It's not to network. It's just to simply learn and validate your thesis. Here's the one mindset shift. Most people will reach out with one goal, to get something. A referral, an introduction, a job. And people can feel that from a mile away. That's why most cold emails get ignored. But when you reach out with genuine curiosity, I'm exploring this space, I built this hypothesis, and I'd love to learn from your experience, something completely different will happen. People want to help someone who's clearly thought about what they want and is doing the work to figure it out. The process is simple. Find people on LinkedIn or in roles that match your map from step 2. Send a short message that's 2 to 3 sentences max. We have an entire video covering this and also a lot of writing in our Substack with examples on how to send good cold emails. It can look like this example here. You'd be shocked how many people say yes to a good, well-crafted, and thoughtful cold email. And all you're going to do in these conversations is simply ask them, what are you working on? What's the most interesting part of your role? What surprised you about this career path? If you're in my shoes, what would you be doing right now? They're telling you exactly what the real world looks like. They're refining your hypothesis in real time, and things that you thought you wanted, you might actually end up realizing that you don't want them. And more importantly, roles that you didn't even know exist, you'll start to discover them in these conversations. Because while there's an infinite information online, the real information about how things actually work are not posted, and they're just found out about through conversations. This is the part that breaks people's brains. After every conversation, you can simply ask them, is there anybody else you think I should talk to? You don't ask for a referral right off the bat, but most people will give you a name and refer you naturally. You'll start to build out this network of people naturally without ever submitting an application. And something else will start happening when you have these conversations. You start becoming known. The people that you're talking to, they remember the student who reached out with a very thoughtful email, asked genuine questions, and had a clear thesis about what they were doing. And when a role opens up, whether it's at their company or one of their friends' companies, guess whose name will come to mind? It's not the person who submitted an application through a job portal, it's yours. But here's the thing, the relationship will get you in the door, and step 4 is what actually will get you the offer. Because at some point, you need to prove that you can do the work. And the way you do that is probably not what you're expecting. So this is what separates you from everybody else. You're going to take everything that you've learned, from your research to your conversations to your refined hypothesis, and start building something. A real project with a tangible deliverable and something that says, I already think like somebody who works here. Because when you do this, you move past, please consider me, to just saying, here's what I can do, judge it yourself. So what does this actually look like for you? Well, it depends on your hypothesis. It'll look different for every job function and every career type, but it should draw upon all of the conversations and research that you've done and align with the role that you're actually looking for. If you want strategy consulting, build a market analysis for a company that you'd want to consult for. If you want something at tech in the start, then build a product teardown or a feature proposal. If you want something in finance, then write an investment memo, work on a financial model, or do a deep dive on an industry. The point is to do the work before anybody asks you to. Send it to the people you've built relationships with, ask for feedback, iterate on it to make it better. And I know this sounds almost too simple. It's probably breaking your brains a little bit, but I've watched this work over and over for dozens of people. People who follow this don't just get an offer, they get multiple because they've built a reputation before they formally ever applied, and they're actually doing something that they're genuinely interested in. So let me bring this all together, because there's one more piece that ties this whole system into a cohesive loop. And this is what makes it sustainable rather than just a one-time thing. So here's the whole system. The first step is to build a career hypothesis. Get specific about what you really want. The second step is to map the landscape. Research the companies, the roles, and the people that fit into your thesis. Step 3 is to build real and genuine relationships and refine your initial thesis. Talk to people, learn, and let conversations sharpen your direction. The fourth step is to build and pitch your proof of work. Create something that shows you can do the job before anybody asks. And here's what's really interesting about all this. This entire system is a loop. It's not a checklist. Your proof of work will give you new insights, your conversations will open new doors, and your hypothesis will keep evolving. And as you keep doing this, each cycle you'll get closer to what you actually want, and along the way you'll sharpen your thinking and meet the right folks. So is the traditional job search dead? Not exactly. Nothing really ever dies. It just evolves. But the evolution is pretty clear today. The people who are going to win are the ones who stop playing the application game and start building real relationships and proof. I've been in finance, I've been in private equity, I've changed careers multiple times, and every single time it was the system that worked. Not applications, not job boards, but what I just talked about in this video. I'm not saying all this to freak you out about the job market or scare you. I hope you now understand that the game has changed. And if you can adapt, the opportunities are actually better than they've ever been. If you want to go deeper on this, exactly how to write the cold emails that actually get responses, how to build specific proofs of work for your field, how to even find the companies and the people on LinkedIn and even their emails, I write about this every week. The link to my newsletter is in the description below. So I have one question for you now. If you stopped applying tomorrow and started building instead, what would you build? What would your proof of work look like? And what steps would you take? Drop it in the comments. I read every single one. I'll see you in the next video.